Hi everyone, it's Echo here, bringing you an OU battle. So, I lead off with my Umbreon, and he leads off with Greninja. He goes for the Surf, while I set up a Toxic. My Umbreon is actually a Toxic Stalling set, with the moveset Toxic, Heal Bell, Wish, and Protect. So, I just go for a Wish, use Protect to scope him out, see what he wants to do. He goes for the Focus Blast, which, huge threat against Umbreon. So I switch into Espeon to take a Focus Blast. Luckily, he misses. He goes for the Dark Pulse, and for some reason, I use Shadow Ball instead of Psychic. Psychic would have more than likely killed with Stab and still super effective. So I go back into Umbreon and take a Dark Pulse right to the face. Um, he uses Focus Blast, and it does a little more than half. I go for a Wish, and switch into Espeon to take the Wish. He goes for Will-O-Wisp, and my Magic Bounce uses it on him instead of me. So the Wish comes true, and my Espeon's back to full health. I go for the Shadow Ball again and take down the Gengar. Then he switches into Medicham, and I go for a Toxic while he goes for a Substitute. And I'm thinking, great, I'm gonna get swept by my Mega Champ. So I go for Protect while he uses Bullet Punch, and this is the point where I just proceed to spam Protect because that's all I can think of doing right now. So I proceed to spam Protect while he takes the Toxic damage, um, and it works out relatively well, but I honestly don't like Toxic Stalling. I feel like an ass doing it. Um, but the Medicham does go down thanks to the Toxic, and he sends out his Donphan. I go for another Toxic, thinking, well, I don't know what I was thinking, but I don't think I needed Espeon anymore. So he takes the Toxic damage while I go into Leafeon. He goes to the Ice Shard, and it hardly does a thing. I use Leaf Blade, doing a little more than half. He's healing with leftovers while taking Toxic damage. He probably should have gone for the Ice Shard again, just get as much damage off on Leafeon as possible, but he didn't, so the Leaf Blade killed. Then his Greninja went for the Ice Beam, and I don't do OU very often, so I don't know how common it is for Greninjas to use Ice Beam, but lesson learned. So I switch into Sylveon and take a Surf relatively well. I set up the Calm Mind, get the special defense and special attack boosts, and he goes for Ice Beam again, does a small amount of damage while I set up another Calm Mind. The Toxic damage it's doing his thing. He goes for the Hidden Power Fire, while I go for a Wish. Now, my Sylveon is a Pixelate Sylveon, which turns all normal attacks into fairy attacks and ups the damage a little. So I go for Hyper Voice and do a reasonable amount of damage, surprisingly. The Wish comes true, bringing me up a little more than half, while I go for another Hyper Voice, but he shielded it, so it doesn't do anything. The Hyper Voice brings him down to 17%, and he hits me with Flash Cannon, and I barely live it. He hits me with a Shadow Sneak, and that's enough to take down Sylveon. I sent out Umbreon for... I really don't know why I sent out Umbreon. He cannot do anything to any Steel types. So I set up a Wish for whatever reason. And after realizing that Umbreon can't do anything, I switch into Vaporeon and take a Flash Cannon very, very well. I hit him with the Shadow Ball, and the Aegislash is down. Here comes his Sylveon. I hit him with the Hydro Pump, doing a little less than half, but still, Sylveon's especially bulky, and the Hydro Pumps would not do enough afterwards. So I switched into Flareon and set up a Curse while he goes for a Wish. And he hits me with the Pixelate Hyper Voice. It doesn't do too much since Fire Resist Fairy. And then, I don't think he knew this, but Flareon gets Flare Blitz in Gen 6, and it does a nice 100%.